The Democrats have a long bench in California, in Northern California and Southern California. The Democrats dominate the state of California. They dominate the Democrats nationally. They are the party. Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, even Dianne Feinstein is still around and on her way out the door. And so they have a long bench within the state. In Southern California, the mayor of Long Beach was a Latino male. You have a number of people, that they can choose from in the LGBTQ community as well, who also seek representation. So again, Gavin Newsom can't please everyone, but he can please some of the groups, I think, and he can also, show other efforts to recognize the other groups' interests by, speaking to them. Gavin Newsom is typically on the right side of many of these issues. He's gotten himself in trouble recently with his hypocrisy around COVID and COVID gatherings. But politically, Gavin Newsom is on the right side of California politics, is my point. And I think that, is something that, is to his advantage. And so he'll get goodwill regardless of which segment of the state Democrat constituency is disappointed by the choice he has to make. Otherwise, to continue your question around the Senate, the important state of Georgia, it's all about Georgia in January, right? January 5th, it's all about Georgia, Stacey Abrams, Latasha Brown, the Black Voters Matter, a number of Black women's organizations in Georgia are organized. They are seeking money, they're seeking funding, they're seeking callers, they're seeking texters, they're seeking a national Black convergence on Georgia. And Black America has shocked this country as voters repeatedly in South Carolina. And we all just watched for the last 10 days or 2 weeks, them count Black votes in Black cities with significant Black voters, close the deal on the Donald Trump presidency. And so now you have to sort of allow the Biden and Harris to implement their agenda, like the Lift Every Voice agenda, which is the Black agenda for the Biden administration, which is a comprehensive agenda, which he called the Black Manifesto in one radio interview with Charlamagne tha God. But all we talked about was him saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. But in that same interview, Biden used the term Black Manifesto twice. And he may have meant agenda, but he said manifesto. And I thought that was going to be the headline. But Charlamagne's producers focused on the last 18 seconds where he gets up and says, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. And we missed Biden talk about that. We missed him explain that the 1994 crime bill, Bill Clinton tried to include a 3 strikes element to it, and Biden took it out. But I think in the long run, Georgia and the Georgia Senate seats are in play. The Democrats are all invested, but I think the Black community nationally has to finish what they've started by supporting all in, enabling the Biden and Harris administration to be able to carry out their agenda. Again, it's not perfect. It's not my politics and not my preferences, but as American politics go, as the parties go, as the issues go, as the limits of our political system go, Joe Biden is the better of the two options available to us right now, and now he's the main player. So that that's what's important. I think one of the things we do very well as a group, and we just demonstrated that again electorally, is we don't do a good job of politics after. And that's where I think we have to grow up and mature up in our politics as a group, is the follow-up. How do we now translate our electoral support into voting and into politics rather, not voting, but into politics after voting? And that's why I think it's important that Congressman Clyburn just recently spoke into the appointment process and said it's not black enough. And that's politics after. He helped Biden get the nomination. Biden appointed Harris to the VP. That was a nod to that. But Clyburn saying that's not enough. And that's great. Clyburn is someone we should all be watching in terms of how he uses his influence and power as a black politician to get whatever can be got under the circumstances.
So now talk about Clyburn's tenure. How long will he be working on this Black agenda and manifesto for us? I mean, how many years can we depend on him? How many years do we need to rally and support behind him? And then let's talk about ways that we can do that.
Well, I don't think they have any years. There's no time.
Okay.
Mainly because COVID is going on, the emergency is going on, the economic ceiling and sky is falling, except in the stock market. I don't think that they have any time because also the 2022 election is just around the corner, and that's the midterm. And the Democrats, the incumbent administration, typically loses seats. So the Democrats could actually lose the House in November of 2022.
Right.
So they have to do all they can. They just shed about 13 blue dog, yellow dog conservative seats. That wasn't the liberals. The liberals just got stronger in the caucus because those people who lost were the people that the Democrats gained in the 2018 midterm from Republicans that they weren't supposed to get anyway. So now things have been reset. But by 2022, the Democrats have got to upset history and actually try to strengthen Biden's hold or hold the House. Otherwise, you'll have Kevin McCarthy from California as the Speaker of the House. In the same way that the 2010 election interrupted the 2008 presidential administration and win of Barack Obama, Barack Obama's presidency never recovered, even in his reelection. Obama effectively was a 1.5 year president from coming into office in January of 2009 until October of 2010, when the Tea Party backlash occurs, and then Ryan becomes the Speaker of the House. Barack Obama's agenda was effectively stalled from that moment on, and we can't think of any signal legislation from that point on because he'd gotten the Affordable Health Care Act already passed. The second administration, unless I give you the answer, we won't even be able to identify what achievements Obama came through.
And you're saying
one was marriage equality, and the other would be the recognition of Cuba. But Trump has pushed back on the latter already, and some on the former already.
And so are you saying if, in fact, we don't gain control of the House, that we will see a lot of similar problems in terms of getting things through the House and onto the...
Right. Basically, the Democrats have to stay in campaign mode. That's what Donald Trump did, and it didn't work. But he stayed in campaign mode as a strategy, and I thought it was a smart strategy. He acted more like a House of Representative member who has to run every 2 years, so you stay in campaign mode. That's what the Democrats need to do. Have a 2022 game, a 2024 game, a 2026 game built into now, thinking about Kamala's future, but I'm talking about Senate and House control in order to carry out their agenda. Again, Obama is the model. Obama was popularly elected, like you said earlier, in a watershed and landslide popular vote election in 2008. But his agenda did not translate into a mandate because it was interrupted by the Tea Party backlash of 2010. And if Democrats don't overcome that in 2022, the same thing will happen again. And then we'll be right back where we were.
Right back.
With Kevin McCarthy instead of Paul Ryan. And again, the conservative agenda. And again, for these people, their main, I think, goal at this point, apart from power, is to maintain their party advantages as a minority party in America. The Republicans are a minority party nationally. And in the state of California, they're not even number 3. I think they're number 3, behind nobody. And that's the trend nationally. Howard Dean talked about this years ago, that they were becoming more homogenous, more regional, and less a national party. But they've learned how to manipulate the structures of government, the electoral college, the gerrymandering process, redistricting, the U.S. Census. They're doing everything they can with the courts. The Republicans are committed to all-out political war, and the Democrats are acting like the Washington Generals, who is the basketball team that's assigned to lose contractually to the Harlem Globetrotters. And until the Democrats get some cutthroat and get some
real game, some more
Pitbull, some more Maxine Waters in them, and more Marsha Fudge in them, and more AOC in them,
more Clyburns, right?
And, Clyburn, no. I'm talking about more fighters. Clyburn is a strategist. He's a great strategist. I'm talking about people who will call things as they are, like Maxine Waters. The Democrats have that, but they tend to fuddle the clarity of their message with a lot of soft talk. Like Biden is confusing his own voters by talking about potentially appointing a Republican or forgiving. He's not talking about it. Others are talking about, like John Kasich was on national television last night saying, let's all move on beyond Trump. Hell no. There's serious crimes that were committed. And that's why I'm so glad Letitia James, the AG of New York, is completely on the front lines and committed to holding the Trump and the NRA all accountable for what they've done in the last 5 to 10 years in our politics.
So you're saying to the people out there that in order for us to appoint more people like Maxine Waters, who is a representative of the House, we need to support or get involved ourselves, become candidates who will tell the truth and tell it like it is and stick to the agendas, whatever they are, Black agenda, Hispanic, Latino agenda, whatever it is, and work through the House. Tell me or describe to us what that should look like.